All right. Well, it's great to see that there's a lot of interest in the new features coming up in Nagios XI 2012. Our next speaker is the lead developer at Nagios. He's worked on a variety of add-ons and enhancements for Nagios Core, Nagios XI, and Nagios Fusion. How about a warm welcome for Mike Guthrie?
All right, well, good afternoon and welcome. As I said, my name is Mike Guthrie, and just to get an idea for who I'm talking to today, how many of you guys are either currently using XI or at least are decently familiar with it, played around with it? So it's about half and half. So a lot of what this presentation is going to cover is some of the new features in our upcoming 2012 release. We won't get too much into existing features that are in our 2011 version right now, but this will be more looking forward to what's coming. So our 2012 version, we are actually hoping to release the full 1.0 version sometime here in October, pending kind of a few final fixes. We've had it out for public beta for a few weeks now, and had some people here at the conference and other members of the community actually helping us test it out and find some of the final bugs and so forth. But we'll just do kind of a brief overview of some of the new features, and these aren't even actually all of the new features that will be in 2012, but I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the bigger ones and then also some of the ones I had the privilege of working on myself. So just a couple key items. One would be just overall improved configuration management. We did a complete redo of the core config manager, which is based on Nagios QL. That was actually a project that I think we started working on that almost 2 years ago, actually, is when we kind of started working on that off and on. And so that was a pretty major project to have completed for this year. Nagios Business Process Intelligence, or BPI. We have a 2.0 version of that with some substantial improvements for people who need to do business process monitoring. And then scheduled reporting is another key feature that we've had a lot of users ask about. Bandwidth usage report for people using or doing monitoring for routers and switches. A lot of people need to actually track the bandwidth by port and maybe a managed service provider, or they actually need to track on a day or month basis the kind of bandwidth usage that's being used. So we have a new report in there specifically for that. We have a wizard for bulk configuration modifications. So if you want to change, for example, the check interval on 100 services at one time, you can do that. An escalation wizard. It's a wizard designed to create a chain of escalations. So if you want to have escalation levels 1, 2, and 3, and you want to apply it to, say, 30 services at once, you'll be able to do that. Bulk renaming just allows you to rename your hosts and services while still retaining your historical data and your performance data. Capacity planning. I won't get too much into that because Nick Scott's going to cover some of that in a different presentation, but it's just the idea that it will take your current performance data and actually project into the future using some different mathematical algorithms what your capacity needs might be. And then audit logging will also be a new feature in 2012, which just tracks different activity throughout the interface, configuration changes, administrative changes, things like that. So the first major one is the new Nagios CCM. It's a revamp of the existing core config manager that was included with Nagios XI. This is actually based on the Nagios QL project, and we actually back when we first released Nagios XI, it was based on Nagios QL 3.0. And as the Nagios QL project continued to change to 3.1, 3.2, there was enough overhaul in that code, and we'd actually kind of tied into enough things for 3.0 that whether we wanted to or not, we kind of had 3.0, and we're kind of left with the choice whether to make our own fixes to 3.0 or to try and merge with the existing 3.2, and we kind of decided just for our own developers to be able to work on and maintain aspects of the front end and so forth. We decided to take the back end that was there and then just essentially revamp the front end to match more the rest of what XI was doing, and also if we wanted to make our own fixes or changes or modifications going forward, it would be a lot easier to do that. So some of the things that are features for this, the UI is generally more responsive. We got rid of the pair templating engine, which involves a lot of file parsing, and so we kind of changed how the front end is built, and so it tends to be much quicker to load. We just tried to improve some of the overall user feedback and usability. A lot of people found that with the old core config manager, the initial learning curve, it wasn't very intuitive. And so we tried to add some more feedback with that people, when they did certain actions, they would have more responsive, more intuitive feedback and more human-readable feedback that they could know how to fix problems. Just overall easier learning curve was a goal, and then a couple other items that were just big feature requests we got from users. One of them would be if you have, for example, host-to-host group relationships. If you create a relationship from a host to a host group, but then you pull up a host group definition, you won't actually be able to see that the host-to-host group relationship is there. You can only see the relationships from one direction in the old core config manager. With the new one, you'll actually be able to see them from both directions, so it's easier just to keep track of your group relationships and your parent-child relationships. You can also test your host and service commands from the UI. So if you're actually building your service definitions from the core config manager and you want to actually check and see how your thresholds are going to turn out, or if your arguments are correct, there'll be a button to actually click that you can test it, and it will actually run the check plugin and give you the feedback in the user interface without having to open an external shell. Another one is just as you're creating, as you bring in new plugins into Nagios XI, if you want to extend it, the old way of doing it was that you'd have the core config manager open, and you usually have a shell nearby to be testing the check command and testing the arguments from a shell, while also having the user interface open to build your command definitions. What we did is we actually brought the plugin documentation into the UI so that you can see it right there and just more easily build your new command definitions. We also added just a search feature on all pages. And we also had a way to, if people use, for those who are existing Nagios XI users, if you have static configurations that aren't managed by the core config manager, we actually still have a way that you can actually just bring up those files in a text editor in the web interface, and you can manage them that way as well. And so we'll go to an actual demo video here, and I'll kind of pause throughout and highlight a few features. So this is the login of the new CCM, and this is actually 1 or 2 versions old, so this actually isn't the absolute latest version when I made this video. But you'll see here, this is just the host screen. We tried to maintain the look and feel of the previous core config manager, just for ease of transition for people who are used to the old version, or might be coming from using Nagios QL. Added a few new features into it. One would be try to do a couple things. The old CCM also had a few issues with Internet Explorer, oddly enough, and so we tried to use more the jQuery library so it would be a little more cross-browser compatible. Excuse me. Let me go back up here. So pardon me. Zip back through. All right, so the host screen here is you can click on any of the hosts as links, and it will allow you to edit the details. You can also activate and deactivate different definitions from this page. And for some reason now when I'm clicking, it's not pausing. Apologies for that. We joke that we didn't do a live demo because, of course, everything always breaks in a live demo. So we went for a video. So of course, stuff will go wrong in the video too. So. All right, so let me review my notes here where we're going. All right, so one thing I want to take a look at here, like I said, most of the look and feel is similar to the old version. We tried to maintain most of the same form elements. We redid the overlays a little bit so they would hopefully be less buggy with Internet Explorer. I'm going to take a look here. We'll show you the host groups page here. Now you'll see here this host has a host group assignment to the new group. And I just use generic names. This is my test box for my work. I'll pull up the host groups page. we'll access that host group definition, and we'll bring up the host page here. And I'm going to zoom in.